The Senator from Bristol and Norfolk, Mr. Feeney.
Thank you, Madam President, and through you to the members, I want to start off just by thanking the gentleman from Winthrop, the gentlelady from Somerville, who have done a great job articulating the details of this legislation that we did take up last year here in the Senate proudly and passed, as was just mentioned, without dissent, and as the House took up earlier this session. This bill, Madam President, I think there is some misinformation out there, certainly that we've heard from various opponents. But I rise just to talk and break it down to its simplest terms. This underlying bill is it's about a basic American right of workers being able to join together to collectively have a voice in their workplace. That's it. It's that simple. There's no nuance, no details that we have to debate about for hours on hours, no need for any sort of fiery rhetoric. It's about a basic, simple premise that I've seen all of us in this chamber support in the past, which is that when we all do better, we all do better. And that the only check to organized capital in this country for generations has been organized labor. And that when workers have the right to join together and to speak collectively, that they do better, it lifts up our society. It has certainly in this country created a middle class, yet we've seen that under attack each and every day across this country. This is about the power of workers to be able to join together and have a voice. But we also understand, Madam President, that that right is under attack on a national level. We've seen it. We've all read the news. We've seen the cases. And this court case was simply just one more step in that direction. The right of workers to join together and act collectively and to have a voice in the workplace only exists if the system that supports it remains strong. And the laws that protect it for years and years now, for generations since the National Labor Relations Act and the Abood case, which led to labor, peace, and harmony in the public sector for decades, that was overturned in the Supreme Court case last year with Janus, that once that system is threatened and that begins to break down, then that right of workers to join together collectively, to have that power, to have a collective voice, goes away. There's a reason, Madam President, we just heard from the two previous speakers on this bill, there's a reason why these court cases were brought forward. And it's not because of some public sector employer. It's not because of an aggrieved employee. It's because powerful moneyed interests got together and said, if we want to kneecap unions and take away the only check to organized capital that ever existed in this country, then we need to go after the public sector workers first. And when we can weaken the public sector, then we'll start to see unions lose power. And when unions lose power, we make more money. That's it. That's it. And I wish I could go on and on and on with details and data, but it's just anecdotally common sense that when you have multi-billion-dollar corporations, global corporations that join together, think about that. Corporations that join together, they've formed a union. They join together to have collective voice, whether it's through chambers of commerce or different business industries or what we've seen lately in this country, which are dark money PACs and super PACs. When those moneyed interests join together, they have one common goal. How do we maximize our profits and create a system where we don't have strong unions that we have to negotiate with? So they've brought these cases forward through Janus, and previous to that, the predecessor case with Friedrichs in California. They've brought these cases forward for a reason. But I want to be clear that this bill that we're doing today and that we passed last year in the Senate, it isn't a fix to Janus. It's not a workaround to Janus, as some opponents have suggested. This is simply smart public policy that understands that public sector unions must remain strong, that the resources that those unions have today must remain in place for those workers to have a voice. And I'll say it here in this chamber, Madam President, and I think folks have heard me say it before, that, I think the opponents and others that look at this say, well, the third party, the union is the third party here. Nothing could be further from the truth. The union is just a group of workers that decide that they want to have a voice in the workplace. So when we limit the power of quote-unquote unions, then we say as a country that we want to take away the power of workers, that to me is just not American. And it's certainly not what we've done here for generations in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, in a bipartisan way, mind you, in a bipartisan way. We understand in Massachusetts that we need to keep the system in place that protects our public sector unions, because those public sector unions are made up of our employees. They're made up of our workers. And whether you're a laborer on a construction site, whether you're a nurse, a public health nurse in our community, whether you're a teacher, that you should have that same right that is afforded every other American in this country, which is to decide to join together to have a collective voice. That's what this country has been based on. That's what we've fought for years across this country and across this Commonwealth. So this bill, again, I want to be clear, is not about a workaround or a fix. This bill is in response. This bill is in response to a coordinated campaign to take away power from union members throughout this country. That's why we have an urgency to do this now in Massachusetts, to lead the way, to show the rest of the country that we respect workers, that we respect the power that they should have, whether they work for a multi-billion-dollar global corporation or they work for us in the state or for a DPW or for a public school system, that every single person has that unalienable right to join together to make sure that they can protect their future. So, Madam President, I know we're going to debate some amendments today, and I know they come from a good place. And we've had discussions in these halls, certainly over the last few weeks since this bill has been on the docket. And I know those amendments, like I said, come from a good place because I trust the people that have filed them. But I would just say that as we break down this bill to its simplest terms, let us understand that this isn't going on the offense. This isn't going and asking for anything that isn't already there. It's simply saying that we agree with the value of unionized public sector labor, that we agree with the value that workers should have the ability to join together to provide a better future for themselves and their families. So I thank you, Madam President. I hope this bill is passed.